autumn, and I'm having a bad hair day. Oh my god, I was out in the rain. It just does wonderful things to the coiffure. Anyway, this week I'm going to be doing a one brand special, and this is all about Neutrogena. This is a brand that many of us know and love from our youth. From the first orange soaps, we tried using those clear orange soaps to try to help clear up our acne in the 1960s, to some of the hair products and the SPFs that they have out now. They're a brand that a lot of people like. So I think what I'm going to do is actually show you the tutorial first, and this is all using all of the products that I have in the makeup line, and they have a somewhat limited makeup line, a lot like Paula's Choice. There's a missing blush, there's missing stuff. Now I didn't buy the primer. They were out of it in the CVS I went to, and I wanted to get this done, so I did not use the face primer, but actually because of the BB cream-ish foundation that I used, I actually didn't need the primer, and it actually worked pretty well without the primer. So I'm going to show you that first, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you the whole story about Neutrogena and educate you a little bit about it and about animal testing.
Here we go with the whirlwind tour of Neutrogena Cosmetics. We're starting off with the Healthy Skin Brightening Eye Perfector in number 10 Light, which I believe is the lightest shade. Took quite a few pumps to get that puppy up there in that brush. And I'm just kind of marking all the spots and dings and dents and shadows on my face. And I'm just going to smooth them in now and blend it in with my ring finger. It blends nicely. The color was a little dark though for being the lightest shade. Now this is the Healthy Skin Enhancer number 10. It's Ivory to Fair. It's kind of their BB cream type of thing. And it actually went on very smoothly, did not set into my wrinkles, and did not show any dry patches or anything. But it is slightly dark, so you'd really have to be a medium light to be able to wear this. I think if I get a little more color in the summertime, I'll probably be able to wear it. And I'm taking it all the way down the neck. Because it is dark, I want to make sure it blends. Going back over that little spot, because the concealer actually didn't work very well as far as coverage and maintaining coverage goes. I'm opening the package here. These things are all brand new from the store. This is the Healthy Skin Pressed Powder in Light number 20. And I'm just kind of pressing that into my skin. I'm not moving it around or swirling it. And I'm opening the package to the next item, which is the Healthy Skin Blends. This is Sunkissed number 30, and it's kind of a multicolored matte blush bronzer combo. It actually worked fairly well. There is no blush in the line right now, so I use the bronzer as the blush. There is a light scent to it, but it's not unpleasant. Just going around the edges of my temples, around my jawline. And actually, I thought it was rather creamy and nice. Just using individual colors to try to bring it out. And I'm doing kind of a 10 and 2 thing. So that stuff wasn't bad. These next items are their crease-proof eyeshadows. And this one is in Stay Golden, number 10. I'm just doing that on the lid. It's a nice kind of whitish, shimmery color. And these spread a little waxy-like. It's like kind of painting your lid with a crayon. There is no good matte shade for the crease, so I'm going back to the bronzer. I do this a lot. I'll go to a bronzer or a blush and use that in the crease if I can't find a good crease color in a brand. So I'm just going to use that in the crease because it's matte, although it is a little on the warm side. I'm not real happy with that choice, but there wasn't another option. They do have a taupe, but it's too shimmery. Now this color is called Stay Put Plum, number 60, and this is, again, the crease-proof eyeshadow crayon. And I'm trying to open the package. Now this was really pulling on my lid. I could not get color out of it, so I was trying to work it on my hand to see if it would break through, but it was very dry. It looked like it could have been a pretty color, but I couldn't get any kind of a payout out of it. And it just tugged and pulled. I really didn't like it. Trying to blend with my finger a little bit. The next item is their Nourishing Eyeliner in Brushed Pewter, number 20. And it's definitely kind of dry, so you can't really tightline with this particular eyeliner. But they do have liquid ones that you can do. I'm trying to draw my little frown face. I didn't like it. And next on the list, this is the Healthy Volume Waterproof Mascara in Carbon Black. It's got a slightly bent brush, and I guess they mean for it to be. Ergonomics and all. It's a very, very dry formula. So dry that I can't seem to get any kind of a lash out of it at all. Just very, very little came out. Of course, this is a waterproof mascara, and a lot of times with a waterproof mascara you lose a bit of that volumizing effect. But I'm not real happy with it. My lashes look pretty much the same as they did before, only slightly darker. It's more like a stain than any kind of a build-up or volumizer. Didn't really lengthen either. I'm giving it like 3 coats. I'm going to try and show you how dry it is by putting it on my hand, but that didn't work. And I'm using some of the bronzing powder in my eyebrows just to kind of fill in the sparseness. Pretty clever, eh? Time for the lippies. And I do like these. These are the Moisture Smooth Color Sticks. First one is Juicy Peach, number 10. This is probably my favorite in the line. Very nice. The next one is called Fresh Papaya, and that's number 20. It's a little brighter shade, and that looks very nice as well. These are very sheer, they're very moisturizing and emollient. This third one is called Warm Caramel, number 50.
And so here is the finished look. I was really surprised that the eyeshadows, especially this purpley dark one, was so dry. I had to keep trying to rub it on my hand to lighten it up a little bit. It was pulling my eyelids really badly. These are a total fail. This lighter color isn't quite as bad. but still it's drier than you would think a cream eyeshadow should be. But I mean, out of the colors I saw there, the white one and this darker purpley one were the two best colors, and I think the white one has a really nice kind of payout on it, but this one was so dry. I was yanking, I hardly got any color out of it at all, so this was a total fail. But this one was okay. You can see it, it stays, and it does last all day long. The actual eyeliner, the smoky charcoal, again, it pulled. You can't tight line with it. It's very, very dry. And the mascara is so dry, I hardly have any of a lash out of it at all. So I'm really surprised with the mascara. I think I had tried this before because Emily Noel had tried it, or somebody had tried it and said how much they loved it. But I mean, even after like 5 or 6 coats, I'm just getting a few little lashes out of it. I'm not getting enough volume. Doesn't even feel like there's anything in here, and it was a brand new package that was sealed. So I did give it the old college try. The real stars of the Neutrogena makeup line, I did like this multicolor blush thing. I thought this had a really nice payout, and it wasn't too strong, and it blended really nicely. So this was okay. The best part was, of course, the lip crayons. I think these go on really nicely. The colors are sheer, but that's really good for older folks, so we don't have anything too strong on. And these 3 colors worked really well. I think I like this peachy color best. But I'm always attracted to that color anyway. So these were great. I really loved them. The face powder seemed a little dark, and this is the lightest shade that they have in their line. And the skin BB cream stuff, I think it's like maybe a half shade too dark, but actually, let me have a quick look here. It went on fairly smooth. There's not really an issue with it at all. The concealer was a nightmare. It looks like something that would be really nice in Mineral Touche Eclat and all that, but it's a little dark, and it didn't cover very well. I had to keep going over the same spot with it. So I think all in all, the makeup was kind of a fail. I mean, I have used the Healthy Skin foundation before. I wanted to try this one because it's fairly new, and most people don't know about this one. They know about the other one. So anyway, that about does it for Neutrogena. I'm now going to show you a little bit of a history on the brand, and then you can see why I'm returning every single thing back to the store.
The Neutrogena story begins in 1930 in Los Angeles, California, with this man, Emanuel Stolaroff. He started a small specialty cosmetic company that basically sold to salons that dealt with the Hollywood movie and makeup artists industry. He named this company Netone, and they were not only famous for cosmetics, but they also supplied 75% of the U.S. lipstick brushes. The line expanded over the 1940s, and he began to sell to the more consumer retail market. Making lots of money, he started to take business trips around Europe, and one in particular to Belgium was life-changing. He had heard about a cosmetic chemist named Dr. Edmond Fromont. Now, he had invented a special soap, and this soap was a clear orange soap that actually was pH balanced. It rinsed quickly, and it left no soap residue. Within 11 minutes after washing with this soap, skin returned to its natural, normal pH balance. And this was a very healthy process, as the only other way not to disrupt your face pH balance was to wash with water alone. It cleared acne without drying the skin. Mr. Stolaroff immediately thought of the popularity of this soap in America, and he thought that he could really promote it. So he decided to strike a deal with Edmond Fromont to buy the rights to distribute in America. and they had a very strong agreement. Apparently, this agreement had some clauses in it that weren't so favorable on the side of the inventor, Edmund Fremont. The soap was called Neutrogena, the neutralis, the Latin for new, and genus, which is create natural effects. So together the words created Neutrogena, and a new, very special soap was born. Mr. Stolaroff had a marketing genius, and he decided to have each bar of soap imprinted with the name Neutrogena as part of the marketing campaign. And the ads kind of promoted the transparency and the uniqueness of the soap. Audrey Hepburn was apparently a huge fan of this soap, and she was one of the people who helped make it so famous. It also became quite popular amongst dermatologists to recommend it because it was such a healthy soap. Now this man is Lloyd Kotzen, and he's a former archaeologist. He joined the Natone team after marrying Stolaroff's daughter Joanne. He would later become the president and CEO of the company. He targeted sales to department stores and higher-end drugstores, and by 1962, this Neutrogena soap was so synonymous with the company that the company changed their actual name from Natone to Neutrogena. The line grew and expanded, and from leaving samples on dermatologists' offices, they wound up with huge success in a billion-dollar business. They expanded for SPFs and dandruff shampoos and lip moisturizers and body lotions, face moisturizers, and acne washes, which were quite popular. And also in the early 1970s, they had acne pads, which they thought would be a really popular item. So with the success of the skincare business, they decided to move into shampoos and also makeup remover, which is still popular to this day. They have also come out with their version of a motorized cleaning brush. The makeup line was introduced and became quite popular for its purity and hypoallergenic properties. And they had some pretty fun colors and products as well. The inventor of the soap, Edmund Fremont, passed away, and all of the shares of his interest in Neutrogena went to his mistress. She actually wound up marrying a man named Arnie Talley. And Arnie was really resentful of the American Neutrogena company because they were trying to get all of the distribution rights all over the world. And that original agreement that was signed between Mr. Stolaroff and his father-in-law had a lot of loopholes in it, and they really got screwed in Belgium. That original agreement actually just benefited Mr. Kotzen, who had replaced Mr. Stolaroff as CEO of the company. He was in courtroom battles with the Belgian company for quite a while, and then tragedy struck. In 1979, Arnie Talley snuck into the Beverly Hills home of Mr. Kotzen, where his wife Joanne and her son, 14-year-old, and then 14-year-old's friend, a 16-year-old child, were in the house. He held them hostage. He had a ski mask on. He used chloroform on them, and he actually shot all 3 people. He escaped without being recognized, but because of the circumstances, he was a suspect. He committed suicide the day before the police were to interrogate him over the situation. This was actually put in a book called Unfair Competition. That was just released this past November. The intended victim was Mr. Kotzen himself, and Arnie waited over 5 hours for Mr. Kotzen to come home, but he was away on a business trip. After a bit of a grieving period, Mr. Kotzen did remarry, but it was very short-lived. In 1994, Johnson & Johnson acquired Neutrogena. Neutrogena has many popular spokesmodels such as Hayden Panettiere, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jennifer Garner, and Vanessa Hudgens, among other popular modern actresses of the day. They also have worldwide ad campaigns, such as this one from Malaysia. And their cosmetic line continues to be successful with a great variety of foundations and powders and blushes. And we have this man to thank, Mr. Stolaroff.
Neutrogena is not a cruelty-free brand. I believe they originally started out that way, but because in 1994 they were bought by Johnson & Johnson, Johnson & Johnson, even though they have a really nice advertising campaign, they do some of the cruelest animal testing in the market. And PETA has tried to work with them, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, has tried to work with Johnson & Johnson to use lesser methods or use less animals in their processes. They do a lot of medical and a lot of food products. They own over 250 companies, so they are required by law to do a certain amount of testing. But they do have the choice of alternative testing, and they're choosing not to. And that's where it's a problem. There's, plant stem cell testing. A lot of the newfangled alternative testing is somewhat expensive, requires new equipment, training new people, lab people, and it was just so easy to have lab animals because they're so readily available, easy to use, and you can see reactions on living beings as opposed to just looking at chemical reactions on plant cells. So they don't have a good argument as far as I'm concerned, but PETA has been working with them, and as of 2012 they refused to adhere to the humanity laws that PETA suggested, even under a lot of legislation. So Neutrogena is owned by Johnson & Johnson, so this is a case where the company itself may not be so animal testing, but they are owned by a company that does extreme animal testing. So a portion of every dollar you spend on Neutrogena is supporting animal cruelty. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping. I don't mean to keep pushing my politics in your face, and I know it's uncomfortable for folks to hear about this because, again, we're creatures of habit. We're used to using certain products. And I can tell you, really, I've tried so many products. There's a lot of products out there, a lot of brands out there that are cruelty-free. They don't need to test on animals. They don't need to do horrible, horrific things to living beings just for the sake of a mascara or just for the sake of a lipstick. So the L'Oreal, the Johnson & Johnson, the Procter & Gamble, these folks are evil. And as long as you keep spending your cosmetic dollars and pushing it towards these companies, they're going to continue to do the animal cruelty. So the only voice we have is our spending dollar. And I'm choosing not to buy products from companies that test on animals, and I'm hoping that you'll come to a conclusion as well. I'll try to do a lot of brands and go through a lot of brands that are cruelty-free. Stila will be next, and Stila is cruelty-free. Really nice brand of beautiful makeup. There are options out there, so don't think, oh, well, I can't buy anything in the drugstore, because that's not true. There are a lot of drugstore brands that are cruelty-free, and there's a lot of high-end brands that are cruelty-free. But as long as we keep buying L'Oreal, and we keep buying Neutrogena, and, we're supporting it. So you have to make that ethical decision. I mean, most people just kind of want to avoid it, and I still see people really pushing the L'Oreal stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, well, maybe it is a nice skin cream, but there's also nice skin creams from companies that aren't so cruel. So I'm going to get off my soapbox on this because I don't want to get you mad at me. But anyway, this was really interesting. I always love finding out the history of these brands, and I always wondered about that orange soap that was clear. I did use it when I was younger. It actually didn't help me with my acne. I had really bad acne, and I still have terrible scars now from that. But it didn't really help me, but I did for many years use Neutrogena body lotion. I think it was called Emulsion. I loved it. Oh my God, it was like the greatest stuff. A lot of you out there I know like to use the Neutrogena SPF 50 for a sheer sun protection, for UV rays, for anti-aging. But there are other products out there that can do those same types of things for you. So just thought I'd get the word out to you. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week. And we'll be doing something a little more fun, a little more upbeat. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Toodles.